All right, welcome to the all-new AdminTome Online Training. So we're going to do things a little bit different than you've probably seen before. So this is going to be like an introductory video on what I'm about, what this website's about, what my courses are going to be about, how they're going to be, how they're different from everybody else, and I hope that you like them and that you'll think that there's something worth doing and help you learn faster and retain it more than what you've seen in other sites that charge a whole heck of a lot more. So the first thing is I don't use PowerPoints. I'm not going to be using PowerPoints. We're basically going to be doing as we go. So that's what we're going to be doing. So definitely no PowerPoints here. You might see me write some notes. That's we'll get into that here in a second. The next thing is that we're going to actually learn by doing. So I'm not just going to sit up here with a bunch of PowerPoint presentations saying what X language is and how functions work in Y language and all that blah blah and keep you bored. We're actually going to be doing. So we're going to be doing some projects. All these courses are going to be project based, so that you can work along and do the project. We're going to learn by doing repetition. So we're going to be, as you watch these videos, take notes as I write something down, just like you would maybe in a college class or whatever. That helps your brain remember it. You can write it down with your handwritten notes. It's even better. Your brain's going to remember that. And use visual diagrams. A lot of times you may see me pull up draw.io and just diagram out a thought or an idea, and so that's to help me remember. But it's also gonna, if you draw those same diagrams, or even better yet, think of your own diagram that you can use to remember that in your own brain. Your brain's gonna be able to recall it a lot faster. So keep those in mind as you're going through these courses. If you want to use use a book, if you want to get a book, that's fine. All the resources you can use would be great. This site's for self-taught people like myself. Use any means you can find to help you absorb the material. In my experience, the best way to learn is just by doing. So that's why every course is going to have a project that's based on it. So we're not going to have any code repositories. A lot of courses you might take with some of the other training websites may say, hey, go to this GitHub repository and download the code if you don't want to type it. Look, these courses that I'm doing are so that you can learn, and the best way you can learn, again, is by doing repetition. So thinking about the code, typing in the code yourself is going to help your brain recall it. What I don't want to do is have you sit through hours and hours and hours of videos and not be able to recall what you just watched because it was boring and drab. You didn't write anything down. Your brain's not able to recall anything because all you did was watch a video. So this is going to be a high participation course, and all the courses on AdminTome Online Training. So hopefully that motivates you and gets you ready to do some learning. So yeah, no code repositories. It's going to help your memory. Project-based courses are going to be just like what you're going to see in the real world. You're going to go to work if you want to be a developer, front-end web developer. They're going to give you a project to work on. They're not going to say, think of something and we'll see if it looks good or not. They're going to give you a project saying we need X by Y date. So that's kind of the way these courses are going to go, just like in the real world, to get you prepared for that. So as you can tell, I'm not a professional. I learned this stuff too. I'm self-taught. I'm doing this from my office here. You can hear the guinea pigs. You'll probably hear some kids come in and make some noise. I don't even pretend to be, professional trainer. I'm definitely not that guy that's going to sit up in front of a classroom of people pointing at a screen saying stuff. As you can tell, my hair isn't even really done. But my main goal of doing AdminTome Online Training is to help other people like myself find good quality training that's going to help them remember stuff. So if you want to be like a front-end web developer and you know nothing right now, well, AdminTome Online Training is going to help you do that, because the courses I'm going to give you are going to be project-based with very specific tasks. And we're going to learn as we go. We're going to take notes. We're going to draw diagrams. We're going to help remember stuff so that you're going to be positioned best for success out there in the real world, because this isn't just for fun. We really want to be able to learn this stuff so we can get better jobs, so we can pass that interview. And I can tell you, I've done it. I've gotten books. I've studied those 15, 16, 20-hour long online courses. I dredged through them, got them done, passed exams. I've gone through interviews and succeeded, all without any college experience, because for me, college is too expensive. I have too many kids, and it just isn't worth it for me right now. Hopefully something down the line, but if you're kind of in that same boat, if you're looking for a dream, you want to do something in IT development or administration, check out my courses. This first course is kind of a sample course, an introductory, to kind of show you what I'm about, how I'm different from everybody else, and I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, so shit's going to go wrong. This isn't professional, but it's definitely going to help you. I'm going to try everything I can to give you good quality courses that are going to help you remember the material that I'm trying to present. So that being said, you won't see long drawn-out courses that try to say, oh, this HTML course has 16 hours of video as a feature. Who wants to sit through 16 hours of HTML instruction? So not me. I want to get in and say, hey, I want to make a web page. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a web page. We're going to try to make as many features as we can in that web page and make a good project so that we can get something out of it. I don't want these courses to be boring. I want it to be like two friends sitting. Maybe you ask your friend, hey, I know you know HTML. Can you teach me how to do it? I really want to be able to do that and get a job doing it. So think of it like that. That's how I want these courses to be. I want you to be able to walk away in a couple of hours knowing that you can use the knowledge that's just been presented to you. Not that you're going to have to come back to this course a couple months down the road, scan through the video files and find, oh yeah, well that's the part where he talked about doing images. I want you to just be able to, oh yeah, this is the image tag and we're going to do the source equals, and you just know it. So learn about doing by repetition, taking notes, using visual diagrams that you can come up with on your own. These are tested, proven ways to help your memory recall stuff. So I'm going to give you the first lesson in my first course on AdminTome Online Training. This is free. I'm going to put this on my coming soon page, which I have up, which I believe I have a couple of days left to get the site finished, to put some finishing polish on it, make it look nice and make it work right. So be sure to give it a check out when you have time, when it's fully up. But for now, go ahead. If you like this course, this introductory lesson I'm about to give, then sign up for the newsletter down below the video here. I'm going to send out updates when the site's ready to go live, and you'll be able to get on there and get a subscription. Look, it's super cheap. It's way cheaper than anybody else out there, and I plan on having way more content than anybody else does. And again, it's going to be stuff you're going to be able to recall and memorize, not without even trying to memorize it, because you're doing it, right? So yeah, it's all going to be subscription, monthly subscription. There's going to be an annual subscription. I got kids to feed, so I can't give this stuff away for free. But my main goal is to help other people like myself who are self-taught, who want to get out there and learn the most they can to get to that better job, their dream job, and be happy with what they're doing. So hope you like it. If you have any feedback about this lesson, maybe you think me doing a video with my hair all messed up isn't good. Hey, cool. I love hearing feedback like that. So send me an email, Bill at AdminTome.com, AdminTome.com. So that's tome like an old book. If you ever done Dungeons and Dragons, it's like a spell tome book, but it's a bunch of administrative knowledge. So it's Bill at AdminTome.com. So the first thing we're going to do is jump into it. So my first series of courses are going to be about front-end development. We're going to start at the very basics, learning HTML, how that's the foundation of all web pages that you go and see. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and spin up my Linux virtual machine. And of course it wants to update, so that's just going to reiterate. None of this is planned. You're more than likely going to see stuff go wrong, but that's life. When you're on the job, stuff goes wrong all the time. You're going to have meetings about it and how to fix it. So my training is going to be indicative of that. It's not going to be a perfect song and dance where everything goes right. So be prepared. Stuff's going to go wrong. We're going to fix it together, and we're going to get through it just like if we were working on a real project together. So we'll go ahead and let my virtual machine boot up here. So if you have a virtual machine, I suggest you maybe you have a virtual machine hypervisor like I don't know, like what I'm using here, which is VirtualBox. Make a virtual machine for development, so that way it doesn't take your main system. You can back it up if you need to. If you had to blow away your main system, you still got everything there. You can just copy it off to a hard drive and you're good to go. So this is going to be a short lesson, just a main introductory video, so you can kind of see if you're thinking about subscribing to a training site. Maybe you'll give mine a consideration. This is going to be a sample course to show you kind of what I'm about and what my training is going to be about. So, all right, so here we are in my development system. What we're going to do is create a sample web page. So there's HTML pages are just plain text files. At the end of the day, that's all they are. So you can use any text editor you want. So you can use VIM, you can use Emacs. I'm a big lover of Emacs. Emacs is cool. You can use Visual Studio Code, which I'll probably use a lot once we start getting into bigger projects. But for now, we're just going to use straight up VIM. So I like to make a development directory where I have different types of development projects going. Here I can see Angular, Concourse, HTML. So let's go and do HTML, since that's what we're doing here. We're going to make a new lesson. Oh, and by the way, if there is a course you'd like to see on the new on my site, online training .admintome.com, send me an email, bill@admintome.com, saying, hey Bill, I'd love to see you do a course on CCNA. How do I get a CCNA? What do I do? A course on that'll teach me everything I need to know to get a CCNA. So whatever you want to learn that's IT related, or even like business related, or how to get the dream job you want, how to write a resume, whatever it is, send it to me. Let me know, and we'll put it in I'll work hard to get it in the curriculum. So we're going to CD new lesson. Okay, and so all HTML files are just text files. And whenever a web page loads, almost always it's looking for a file called index.html. Sometimes it's abbreviated to HTML, depends on your web server. So we're going to create that file, and now we're going to edit it. So index.html, and again, it's just a simple text file. HTML files follow a very specific format. Everything's done with tags. So we have straight up HTML. So you're going to have an opening tag, and then you're going to have a closing tag. Everything in your web page is going to fall within these two tags, HTML and /HTML. So we have an opening tag and a closing tag. So to kind of diagram that out a little bit, so we're going to be doing this stuff a little bit more involved here in a minute. So it's going to help us kind of keep track of it mentally by having a diagram ready. Big fan of draw.io. So we're going to create. So we have our main web page here. Let's just say that's going to be index.html, right? So we got our index.html file. That's what this guy is here. Inside the HTML file is going to be our tags. So we're going to have like an opening and closing tag. So we can think of that as like a big container within our index.html, right? So we're going to have at the beginning, we're going to have our opening, which is HTML. and we're going to have a closing tag down here at the bottom, which is our /HTML. This whole container here is essentially going to be our HTML. All of our content is going to go between these two tags in this HTML. Well, look at that, in our HTML container that we have here, which sits inside our index.html file. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to have, almost all websites have to have an index.html file depending on your web server, but you can have other web pages named something else, like say if we had an About Us page. Okay, so that's going to be the same thing. We're going to have another .html file, but this guy we're going to call about.html. Alright, so we got about.html. Okay, we're not going to worry about lining it up, and we're going to copy this dude, and we're going to paste him down here also. Right, let's resize it so it looks a little bit better. We're going to copy those two. We're going to paste. We're going to move them down kind of the same way. Oh, okay. Select this dude. So now I hope you get the idea. So now we got an about.html, which is another HTML file with the same tags in them. Start, opening tag of HTML, closing tag of HTML, and we got we got an opening closing tag for index.html in these containers. So inside that HTML tag, we're going to have some other tags. And you can see BI is going to try to space those out. I like to have 2 spaces for HTML files. It depends. You can set your text editor to be whatever you want. So inside our HTML, it's going to be 2 sections. We're going to have a head. Okay. And we're going to close that section off with a closing tag. We're going to have a body. And we're going to close excuse me, that section off. So just like our HTML, we're going to have an opening and a closing tag of a head and body. So going back to our diagram, I'm not going to get too much involved in this, but because I'm pretty sure you're about to get the idea. Inside here, we're going to have 2 sections, right? We're going to have a head and a body with their opening and closing sections in here. So we have our head and our opening tag for our head, and we have our closing tag for our head section, and we also are going to have an opening section for our body, right? And we're going to have a closing section for our body. Cool. So these are containers nested within the HTML container, which is nested within our index.html file. Very organized, very formatted, easy to read, right? And so we got the same thing in about.html, but essentially every tag is going to be kind of layered in this fashion, containerized in this fashion, right? So we're going to have other tags in the head here that's going to be nested within our head. We're going to have other tags in our body here that's nested within our body container, and so on and so on. All of those are going to make up our web page and put all of our items together. So going back to my site here, yeah, so the 2 sections here, we have a head and a body. Our head is going to be some metadata stuff. It's going to include other stuff that makes it stylized, like it's called CSS style sheets, cascading style sheets. We can get more of those in a later course. Right now, this is basic HTML. How do I get a basic HTML page, old school, get some images up there, some text, that kind of stuff. So in our head here, we're going to have that metadata stuff, and we're going to put some of that in there. Our body we're going to put in is stuff that's actually going to be displayed, so that's going to help us actually get stuff displayed on our web page. And let's demonstrate that here a little bit more. So we're going to have a title section. We're going to close our title section. So this is going to be the title of our web page, right? title's awesome. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a project. We're gonna do a site for this is a site for a lawn mowing company, a landscaping company. We'll call it Bill's Landscaping Company, right? So in here we have a title, opening title tag, closing title tag. So these are, if you've ever looked at a web page before, we can look at one certainly right now. Let's open a new one. And if we go to www.admintome.com, my main blog, the title tag is this right here. You're going to see it on your tags on almost any website, right? We got AdminTome blog, and then a pipe character, and a short little sentence saying what the site's about. How-to articles on big data, Linux, Ubuntu, and general systems administration. So that's what's going to be in between those, that opening title tag and the closing title tag for this particular web page. And I think we can even look at that by looking at the source code by doing Control U. Here's our head. And there's our title. So here's our title tag and our closing title tag with our title. So that's all that is. It doesn't show anywhere else. When you bookmark it, that's what the name of the bookmark's going to be. So it's pretty important stuff. And as you can see from the example I just had, there's a ton more stuff we can put in there. But we'll get into that later in this course. So in our body here, this is where stuff, like I said, is actually going to be displayed on our web page. So we have different tags for different stuff. We want to make one big tag that is real tall, real bold, and it's the title of our web page that we can actually see. Those are called header tags. Those come in different sizes. H1 is the biggest. We could even, go to H4, which is a little bit smaller, but still pretty bold. Again, got to have the opening and closing tags for each one of those. So we're going to say for our H1 tag, landscaping company, right? And then say our H4 is our tag. The best lawn care company in the tri-state area, right? So that's our tag, our tagline that we're known by. So those are header tags, right? Now we need to be able to separate stuff out into paragraphs. So when you're writing an HTML file, it knows nothing about white space. So we could have all those things there and have another H1 tag right here, right? But when we show our web page, it's going to show our main H1 tag, followed immediately underneath it with our H4 tag text, and immediately underneath that with the next H1 tag. It knows no idea about white space in your file. So it's essentially the same as that right there. Which is why we need to tell it, hey, this is a paragraph of stuff. I need it kind of separated. It's its own little identity. Again, opening and closing tags. So we have our web page there, and I don't want to sit there and actually think up stuff. Lorem, Ipsum. So you've probably seen this before, right? Lorem Ipsum generator. We're just going to generate some code, right? So we're going to have one paragraph. All right. Just generate the Lorem Ipsum code. Here's our paragraph. So this is kind of, prototyping the site out. We don't know what the customer wants to put in here. So we're going to put in some filler. Commonly that's done with Lorem Ipsum blah 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 blah. It just looks like a paragraph, but it's meaningless garbage. But on our web page, it kind of shows us how stuff is laid out. So that's a pretty awesome site. Just Google Lorem Ipsum and it'll have a generator for you, so you can check it out. So now if we want to save our file, we're going to save that, and now we can actually look at our file. You don't need a web server to do it. You just need to load it in your browser. So we're going to go development, HTML, new lesson there, which is the directory I just made. We're right click and we're going to open with another application. We're going to tell it open it up in Chrome. Oh, help if I clicked on the right thing. Come on. Oh, there it goes. So it opened it for us. Hey, there we go. There's our first web page, folks. We got our title that we wrote up here, Bill's Landscaping Company. We have our H1 tag, which shows it nice and bold. The best lawn care company in the tri-state area. Cool. That's our little tag. Lorem, Ipsum, Dollar, whatever. All that stuff. So that's our little tag, you know. So it's pretty easy manner to go back in there. And let's say the customer's like, you know, that's pretty explanatory, but I also want to go in and explain, you know, our services, right, on the same page. So we're going to add an H5, which is a little bit smaller than H4. We're going to add another paragraph, our closing tags for everything. Let's generate another freaking paragraph. Go back one paragraph. Okay, cool. So we're going to copy that. We're going to come back over to our web page, source code. We're going to save it again. Now we can just come back over here, refresh. Look at there, we got our services. It's trying to do translate because, of course, it doesn't recognize our lorem ipsum text as any kind of actual language. So it's going to say translate button. We just ignore it. All right, so hey, there's our basic website. There's no pictures yet. There's nothing else there yet, but this will at least show you how to get some text onto a web page. It's not formatted good yet. But hey, it's a start, and we got our main parts of our HTML web page done. Going back to our drawing that we were doing, we got everything containerized, nice and tidy. We can go and look at the code readily and see, oh yeah, oh yeah, we got our paragraphs. Here's our first paragraph, our other heading, our next paragraph. And by the way, you know, as I was saying earlier, you don't necessarily have to do it in VIM. You can use Visual Studio Code. I probably should have got some water before doing this video. Hey, look, there's our code in code. So yeah, looks pretty cool, right? So use whatever text editor you like, works for you the best. I personally, when I'm doing full-on web pages using Angular, you know, or JavaScript, or even just plain HTML, I use code. It seems to make things a lot easier because it has Git integrated. You can build your Docker containers rather easily and all that stuff when you're testing and deploying out to Kubernetes or the cloud or your static image, your static web server, whatever have you. So it's pretty cool. It's a good choice. But yeah, so that is basically our first lesson. We got a basic web page. We got it done. Now I'd say try to write your own web page. Throw in a couple of you know, different headers, formatting them different ways. In the next lesson, we're going to throw in some pictures. We're going to show how to do some video. If you have a static MPEG-4 file you want to put on your page, we're going to put in some background. But again, this is just very basic stuff. This is the starter course. This is if you don't know anything about how to make web pages, you start here because this is the framework. All that JavaScript, Angular, you know, you name it, HTML5, all that starts here with our HTML5 tags. I'm sorry, HTML tags, body tags, the head tags, etc. Yeah, you know, Bootstrap, all that stuff starts here. So hopefully you learned something from that. If you know, I'm betting a lot of people already knew it. That's cool too. But hopefully this gives you an idea of kind of how my courses are going to go, what the tempo is like. You know, I hope it's a lot different than what you have probably seen from other online training websites that just have, you know, the boring PowerPoint slides or a dude talking. All right, here you get the video with the guy with the weird hair. You get, you know, the nice guinea pigs. You know, we got some old computers in the background. Again, this isn't a professional operation, but I'm here for one main reason. That's to help you learn more. in the easiest fashion, the funnest fashion, and just like you'd see it work in a project, right? So hopefully you enjoyed it. Be sure, if you did, to sign up for my newsletter at the bottom of this video down there. Put your email address in and click on subscribe. When my site goes live, I'm going to send you updates. So please check it out. Give it a trial run when the site does go live. There's going to be a 7-day trial period, free of charge for 7 days. If you like it, stay on. I mean, it's super cheap compared to those other sites, and I hope that the content will be what you've been looking for, and fills the gap that those other websites don't. So hope you like it. If you do, send me an email, let me know. If you hated it, send me an email, let me know so I can know what to change. I promise next time I'll do my hair, I'll drink some water so I ain't coughing so much, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go to my site, https:// online-training.admintome.com, and sign up for my newsletter. Excuse me, really need to get some water. And check out my blog, www.admintome.com. I have a bunch of articles there on system administration, development, DevOps, you name it. If it's IT related, Linux related, I've probably written about it. Check it out, subscribe to it. And I can't tell you enough. If you watched all the way to this part, thank you so much. Thanks for sticking through. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you're as motivated as I am about doing this material and giving it to everybody. Share it with your friends if you did enjoy it, and I thank you so much for watching for this long. Hope I wasn't boring. Hope it was exciting, like I was making, or not exciting, but easier to soak in than the rest of the IT online training courses that are out there. So again, my name is Bill. This is AdminTome Online Training, and I sure appreciate you watching. Thanks.